December 20th, 2022, I got so intoxicated on illicit that while nodded out for 6 hours, kerosene space heater fell on my leg. Burned. I have skin grafts that go all the way to the top here. 85% of my left leg was 3rd-degree burns. We're talking bone and ligament exposed. So I spent 56 days in a burn unit ICU.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Locked In with Ian Bick. On today's episode, we have an extremely emotional and traumatic story for you. David Riggins is on the show to share his struggles with addiction, what ultimately ends up happening to David because of his addiction, and how he was able to overcome these obstacles, turn his life around, and how he was able to create purpose for his life. David is giving back to his community in an amazing way, and I'm so excited to share today's episode with you guys. As always, thank you all for the love and support. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the Locked In giveaway. We're going to be announcing the winner soon. We put it out there a couple episodes ago, and those winners will be picked shortly, and an email will be sent to them. Now, without further ado, sit back, relax, and get ready to lock in with David Riggins. David, welcome to Locked In, man. Pleasure having you here today.
It's an honor to get the opportunity to come and sit down with you, brother.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I always see you hyping up doing the interview on Facebook, and I saw the enthusiasm that you wanted to come on the show, and thank you for the T-shirts, too.
Yeah.
Always love when guests bring merch to wear, and we hang it up kind of around the office and put it on display, because it's kind of cool. It tells, like, each person's story. And we also have, like, a little, I don't know if anyone that listens knew this, but we're building, like, this thumbnail wall of Polaroids. So every guest that comes, we take a Polaroid of them and we put it on the wall. So the studio is going to be filled because we do 3 episodes a week. Yeah, and in a year, awesome. I've done like 150 interviews, so it'll build up pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, kind of like giving you a step-by-step, viewpoint of it.
Exactly. Where did you come from today?
I've come from a little town in North Carolina, in Caswell County.
Did you drive?
I flew up.
Oh, okay. And then you got a rental car? Or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I flew in yesterday afternoon and got a rental. I'm flying back home on Sunday.
Okay. Spending a couple days in the area?
Packing in some interviews.
Awesome. Where do you go to after this?
Next, I'm going to New York City to do one Dave from Dopey podcast.
Okay. Is that Dopey podcast? Have I talked to them before?
Possibly.
And I saw you're friends with Jared, who was on the show.
Guys, actually, Jared just texted me not even 2 minutes ago.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm actually going to Jared's house this evening.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually staying the night with him and Brianna. We're going to do a fentanyl rally together tomorrow morning.
That's incredible. Yeah. He's all the way up in like Buffalo. Oh, so you got a ton of driving to do.
We're leaving Buffalo, then going to Albany. Okay. And then coming all the way back to White Plains to fly back home.
Oh, you flew into White Plains?
Yeah.
You probably should have flew into the city if you were doing all that.
Yeah.
Oh, well. So you grew up in Carolina, North Carolina?
Well, I grew up in Virginia, right on the North Carolina-Virginia line, in a little town called Danville.
Danville. So you're like the small towns.
Yeah. It's like 40, 50,000, something like that.
40, 50,000 people?
Yeah.
Oh, that is small.
Yeah, it is.
What was childhood like? Did you have a big family, mom, dad?
I was one of the kind of people from the outside people might have thought unlucky, but in all honesty, I was very lucky. My mother was 16 and my dad was 17 when they got pregnant. When she got pregnant with me, 2 days after they found out she was pregnant, they got married.
Wow!
They had their 41st wedding anniversary back on February the 9th.
Wow, that's awesome. Were they forced into marriage, or that's what they wanted to do?
No, that was their choice. I mean, actually, it was some people was against it, and it'll never make it, it'll never last, and this and that. But yet, my parents, being 9th grade dropouts, they have turned their life around and have shown me and proven to me that it doesn't matter circumstances, you can overcome. My dad's a car dealer. My mom runs a pawn shop.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they're not rich, but they have done very well for themselves. And considering coming from no education to flip it to that point, it's pretty nice. Mother and father were both there. It was a great childhood. I had it lucky, I think.
Do you like being that close in age to your parents? I've always thought about that because my dad's a lot older. He had me at 50, so there's a huge age gap. I wonder if it's kind of like cool to be that close.
I've always said that me and my parents grew up together. And my sister is only 10 months and 5 days younger than me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, same mom, same dad. She goes in for the 6-week checkup. They told her she was already pregnant again.
Holy shit.
So before she was 18, my mom had 2 kids.
Wow. And are you and your sister the only kids, or are there more?
No, there's one more. I got a younger brother that's 5 years younger than me.
Okay. So they waited a little bit for that one.
Yeah. Dad was in the Army by the time they had him.
Oh, he was in the Army?
Yeah.
Where in the military?
Well, he was stationed down in Alabama. That was actually for the whole 3 years he was in. That he actually came to Fort Dix, New Jersey.
That's where I was in prison.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember you talking about Fort Dix, and that's what Eddie clicked to me with that. But that's where he done his basic and all that, because he was a 88 Mike, which is a truck driver.
What year was this?
Late 80s.
So he was probably at the barracks that later became the prison. Because I know there's 2 sides. Yeah, they built a new side for the barracks, and we were in the old Army barracks.
I had no idea about that. Yeah. So more than likely, yeah, you was in the same barracks that he had been in basic training in 25, 30 years before.
Wow, incredible. Did you guys move around a lot because he was in the military?
No. And that's the reason why he only did a 3-year stint. My mother at the time was hell-bent on being terrified to get in an airplane. And he got station orders to go to Germany. They offered him his E5, which was your sergeant rank, and transferred to Germany if he re-enlisted. And my mom told him, well, you can go to Germany if you want. We'll be here when you get back. And so that's why he got out of the Army.
Oh, he didn't want to go after that.
Well, no, I mean, he wanted to go, but where she wouldn't go, so we wouldn't go. She wouldn't go, so he wouldn't go.
You ever think about how life would have been different if maybe you went to Germany?
I don't, but I'll tell you what, my dad does. I mean, and then later years, he finally got her to be willing to get on an airplane. Now you can't get her out of one. Actually, funny story, my dad went up to her. He said, me and your sister, because my aunt had just got divorced from her husband. He said, me and your sister are going to the Bahamas. Huh? He said, well, you're more than welcome to come, but I didn't figure you'd want to fly. She got her ass on that plane.
Yeah, my dad doesn't want to fly either.
Well, I mean, you know, sometimes what you got to do, you kind of got to pull the rug out from under them and give them a choice.
I saw a video recently. Someone was saying, like, airplanes are safer than cars.
I could believe that.
In a sense.
Statistically, you know, I could believe that.
Yeah, I guess 100%. Because less people are dying in planes than there are in cars.
Yeah, I 100% can believe that. But according to the traffic that I seen a little while ago, there's a bunch of people in cars.
Yeah, there are a ton of people in cars, but there's accidents. And it's never really you. It's always other people on the road. Yeah. You know, that's what they always say.
100%. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
That's why I hate driving at night. Now, because there's always just someone's out, either they're out drinking or anything. Like, I have no business being out past like 11 o'clock anymore. I'm in bed. Yeah. I turned into an old guy.
I fully get that right there. You know, when we was living the wildlife, you know, it was just go, 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 go. But now it's like, it's time to sit your ass down. Yeah. that's what I tell myself. You know, sometimes it's just time to sit down.
Yeah, remember in like middle school and stuff, you'd be the cool kid to stay up till 2 or 3 a.m. I don't know how people do that now. I can't. Like, I'm miserable when I'm up past like 11.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, you know, like 6 or 7, it's rough.
Exactly. It's like that restart button doesn't quite do what it used to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, did you graduate high school?
I did.
Public high school?
Actually, I was a senior in high school when 9/11 happened.
Okay.
And so that imputed that patriotism into us. So I went and signed up for the Army.
You signed up for the Army?
Oh, yeah. I'm a service-connected veteran.
Wow. And did you get inspired by your dad for that, or that was 9/11 that inspired you?
Cumulative. I would go with both. My dad was in the Army. His dad was in the Army. My mom's dad was in the Navy. My dad's brother was in the Army. So, you know, it was kind of a thing understood, you know, that my dad's one that's very, very adamant on, like, over in Israel, where if you are a man that is physically able, you are going to serve in the military unless you have a reason, you know, to exclude you, albeit a special business you're in, a training that you're in, what have you, or a physical element, whatever. Otherwise, every man is going to serve a stint in the military in Israel. Wow. And my dad's always said that he believes, because the ways that it puts into you. You know, they're a good character. They build you down to, they break you down to build you up. And it truly does impute something into your character that is undone by the civilian sector.
So if you had to describe your childhood up until you went to the military, would you say it's pretty normal, average? Did you have any like trauma or anything before then?
No, it was pretty straightforward for the youth portion. My parents were, I mean, obviously, as we said, they were young too, so they were learning how to raise a child as they were raising a child. I mean, you know, that is what it is. But I'll tell you what, they did a pretty damn good job to not know what they were doing.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes you got to learn by just jumping right in.
Well, they're getting a whole repeat on it right now. They have custody of 4 of my brother's children, so wow. they're doing a rerun right now.
4 of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
A 5-year-old boy, a 7-year-old girl, a 9-year-old boy, and a 12-year-old girl.
Well, at least they have the experience.
Yeah.
So, if we had like one of your friends here with us today from back then, how would they describe you in high school before you went to the military?
Dependent.
Okay.
I've always tried very hard to be loyal. Loyalty is one of the key factors in life to me, you know, and that's something I hate to say describe myself as, but I honestly believe that that's what somebody would say about me is he is a dependable individual. If he tells you he's going to do something, it's already done.
That's a great trait to have. I don't think that's a negative thing to call yourself, you know?
Well, I was more meaning that I don't want to boast as if saying this is what I am, you know what I'm saying? But I believe that that's what somebody would say about me because that is one of the core factors to how I try to live my life.
I think it's better to say that than people that say I was rich or I was this or I am, you know? I think loyal that's a non-cocky term, you know? Yeah. Like if you said I'm successful or this and that, that's different. But just saying I'm loyal, I'm a loyal person or hardworking, those terms, I think that's great.
I always say real recognize real. Mm-hmm. You know, that's one of those little cliche sayings that I believe is true.
Well, I'm glad I made the cut.
Me too.
So you go off to the service right fresh out of high school.
Yes.
Did you have any dreams of going to college?
No.
Okay.
Well, see, because obviously I signed up, you know, when 9/11 happened, but I didn't actually graduate until June of 2002. So, you know, I leave for the military soon after that. I went to basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia, finished that. Went to AIT at Fort Gordon, Georgia, which is your schooling. My MOS was what they called a 31 Papa 1 Oscar, which means microwave systems, line of sight communication, radio technician, satellite communications technician, and computer networking technician. I was a technology guy.
Okay.
So I spent 54 weeks in school. Then I go to try to figure out how to jump out of an airplane. Well, a safety harness fails. I fall from 15 foot and I land standing upright, snap both my legs.
Holy cow.
Tore my ACL and my MCL in both knees simultaneously at 19 years old. I spent the next 14 months in the physical therapy ward until they finally came to me and told me that they were going to medically discharge me. This is why I'm service-connected.
Wow.
So I get discharged from the military with one of the largest narcotic prescriptions that you can even fathom as a 19-year-old kid that never took anything stronger than a Tylenol. So guess what happens? I get introduced to my best friend, opiates. Here I am, completely naive. Now, by the end, sure, I was abusing them. But initially, I'm simply doing what the doctor's telling me to do, and I'm not realizing that rush of feeling good was me getting high, and I didn't realize it at the time. You know, back in 2003, 2004, the over-medication of narcotics was extreme in the United States. This just happens to be right in the time frame when this happens to me. So for the next 7 years, I went to a pain clinic and got them legally. Everything was fine. All of a sudden, the government comes in and says, we're giving out too many narcotics. So I literally went to my doctor, picked up my prescription. I was getting 360 oxycodone Roxy 30s, 240 methadone 10s. I went in to get my prescription, and they said, we're going to have to cut you back. The government has said we're giving out too many opiates. They gave me 60 Loratab-10s. To go from 360 Roxy 30s and 240 methadone 10s to 60 Loratab-10s. That's it. Obviously, after 7 years, and as I said, I was abusing them by the end of it. Well, what happens? You are so physically dependent that that's not going to cover what you need. Your buddy over here says, hey, man, I know somebody that sells those. So you start purchasing them on the street. That's too expensive. To purchase them at a full retail value like that it's inconceivable to be able to keep up with the amount that my body was used to. Somebody said, well, you know, heroin does the same thing. It's just cheaper. Okay. By this point, I'm actually breaking down and injecting the Roxys before they had cut me off. Like I said, I had gotten to the abusing them point. I will agree that I shouldn't have been on them, but I had been on them for so long, it was in there. So injecting heroin comes into play. So literally that trajectory of your life to begin off as a soldier in the United States Army to all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, you're a homeless IV addict using street lights on the side of the road to inject yourself at night, sleeping in abandoned houses. Entire family has disowned you. Being invited to a family event, what's that? You know what I'm saying? The extremity that can get a hold of your life, boy. And then on December 20th, 2022, I got so intoxicated on illicit fentanyl that while nodded out for 6 hours, a kerosene space heater fell on my leg. Burned. I have skin grafts that go all the way to the top here. 85% of my left leg was third-degree burns. We're talking bone and ligament exposed. So I spent 56 days in a burn unit ICU. I got out of the burn unit on February the 8th last year. I left the hospital as a below-the-knee amputee. As you see, I'm an above-the-knee amputee now. Remember the injury from the service. Okay, so what happened is when they amputated my leg off, my leg curled up like this because the ligaments where they were not properly repaired at the time, so they had healed incorrectly, so they were cinched up some, so it just, and so I've got, of course, video documentation of everything online. I had to be given a very customized prosthetic called a bent knee syndrome prosthesis. It was actually like the top section, it was like the shape of an L. It was like a hard boot, carbon fiber boot that this part of my leg would slip into, and then it had the lower portion for the leg. So February the 8th, I get out of the hospital. Of course, I leave in a wheelchair, you know. By May, you have two bones that go from your knee to your ankle. You have your fibula and your tibia. The fibula bone, when they done the amputation, they didn't cut it off smooth. So it began cutting me from the inside out. All of a sudden, one day I had about here, I had a bump pop up on my end of my stump. It swelled to where it got sticking out that far like a big water blister. All of a sudden, when it burst, there's something white there. My bone is sticking out of the end of my leg. So, of course, I go to the hospital and this and that. We go through, they start pumping me with antibiotics. I go through 4 different rounds of bone infections before finally in August, 7 months ago, they came to me and said, unfortunately, we're going to have to amputate more off or you're not going to make it. The infection has gotten so bad that it's not, we can't stop it at this point. It's ate it up. So that's why we went for an above-the-knee amputation. One thing before that right there, this has put me down. I'm trying to figure out, I said, how can I show other people they don't have to go through what I went through? And all of a sudden one day, heal came into my mind. Heal, is an acronym for help others, empathize for others, accept others, and love others. To me, so I began a Facebook pages, TikTok, and all that. I started on August 27th. Under the direction of, let's show people they don't have to do what I did. I express and I tell people the hell that I've went through, the hell that I did to others, for the hope that I can keep someone else from having to enter in and have the same crap happen to them that happened to me. Because, dude, I should have died. I know I should have died numerous times, but I'm still alive. So there's a purpose for it. And I believe the purpose is to show others that we can recover, to show others that you don't need that death, you don't need that crutch that you walk with, because we can do it. So on October the 10th, I went in for an above-the-knee amputation. Well, you've got to realize by this point, I've been off the opiates, because the first 6 surgeries, I took every narcotic they would give me. You know what I'm saying? Because I got burned, went to the hospital. So, you know what I'm saying? I was already in the run. But I did not want to continue on that route. So on February the 8th, when I got out of the hospital, on February 9th, I went to the methadone clinic. Went to the methadone clinic for 45 days with the original plan of titrating down from day one. So I had not had a single opiate, narcotic, anything enter my system at all, even by doctors, since May. So this is October. They're fixing to do another surgery. I said, I don't want y'all to use narcotics. I said, that's not an option. I said, yes, it is. I refuse narcotics. They made me sign a waiver agreeing that they wouldn't use narcotics. So at 8:30 p.m. on October the 10th, I come out of surgery. My whole body was doing like that. My blood pressure hit 240 over 180. They said, we have to give you, they wanted to give me a 4 milligram injection of Dilaudid, or you're going to die. I said, you put that in me, I'm going to die. We finally agreed on a 0.5 milligram shot of Dilaudid. And it did its job. It brought the blood pressure down. Everything was leveled out. They take me to my post-op room. They inform me, you've got an at request for morphine and an at request for Dilaudid. Just say the word, they'll be brought to you. I can't do it. So around lunchtime on the 11th, 12 hours or so post-surgery, the doctor comes in and says, you are continuing to refuse your pain medication. You do realize at this point you are here for pain management. They had me on IV antibiotics for the first few hours or what have you. He said, so all you're going to do from this point forward is sit in that bed. You could be at home if that's all you're going to do. I said, write the discharge papers. He's trying to entice me to say, no, I need to be here where the narcotics are available. I called his bluff. So on October the 11th at 5 p.m., remember I came out of surgery at 8:30 p.m. on October 10th. At 5 p.m. on October 11th, I've got a video of me and my dad sitting in the car, me holding my nub up saying, guess who's already out? They discharged me from the hospital with catheterized nerve blocks installed. That's the only reason why I was able to do what I did. There was 2 bags that I had to carry over my shoulder that were like these balls. They were pressurized balls that once the pressure equalized to the to the atmosphere, then they would stop. But as long as it had more, it would through that feed the slowly drip this numbing agent onto your nerves. So for the first 3 days post-surgery, I had that. And on Friday night, so this happened on Tuesday. On Friday night, the nerve catheter here got to hurting some. It was at its end. So that's actually what I was telling Matt out there, that was actually my first 1 million view video that I got on Facebook, was me removing my own nerve catheters from post-surgery.
Did that hurt?
No, surprisingly enough. Well, you think about it, it's the numbing agent. And so like the catheter or whatever, it was basically like this wire. I mean, when I pulled it out, it was like this far in me, one on the front, one on the back. And it was like this really, really small gauged wire that was hollow in the center. So basically they took like a pin, a needle that was hollow, they shoved it in, they pushed this thing in, and then they pulled the needle back, and that's how that stayed in. Then it was just like taped on or whatever. That thing saved my ass. that catheterized nerve block, if it wasn't for that, there is no way earthly possible I would have been able to physically manage what I did. That's one of the videos I made 3 days post-op where I was saying, look, you know, for everyone out there that is saying you need the crutch that you're using, trust me, you're stronger than you realize you are. You are a warrior if you buckle down and fight to it. Man, I know that what I'd done, I could have took every narcotic they wanted to give me. I could have went to the methadone clinic, dosed it. I know that. I could have managed to not let it get back control of my life. That's not why I denied them. Absolutely not. I denied them because, see, this is the kind of man I am. I gave myself a personal challenge. I said, if you can manage to get your damn leg cut off without narcotics, ain't a thing life can ever throw at you for you to question your sobriety again. So it was a personal challenge to myself. They sent me home with 5 oxycodone 5s. They wanted to send me home with morphine. I was like, nope, can't do that. They called it the oh shit script. And, you know, because I could fall, anything could happen and bust the sutures open. I mean, it was true that anything could happen. Here we are, what, 7 months post-op? I still have 2 of them in the cabinet. Sure, I took 3 of them. And originally, I beat myself up so bad because I lost my personal challenge. And then I come to the realization, screw that. To sit there and say that you had your leg cut off and the only thing that you consumed was 3 oxycodone 5s and 1/2 milligram shot allotted for the whole healing thing, psh, come on now. So even though I personally felt I had been defeated, I realized I hadn't. So man, I got into a little spill, but that right there to me is like, not to toot my own horn, but that's pretty damn strong to sit there and overcome something like that. So that's why my mission is to show others and tell others, you know what? All you gotta do is fight. You can do a lot more than you ever realized.
I think a huge part of your story too, and this is a huge theme on our show that I like to show about the guests that come on, is the cause and effect.
Yes.
You literally went and joined the military for all the right reasons. You had a set plan, you had a career, you came from a good family, you had the heart to do it, and that accident that wasn't your fault, that the universe or God or whatever you believe in or think caused that, and then the rest of your life was affected by that from that one incident.
100%.
And there's so many, like, there's people out in the world that are just like, oh, it was a buildup or they were born into it or this or that. And, you know, fuck all those people. They don't realize that we're all just one thing, whether we make the mistake or the universe puts us in that away. Like, look at car accidents, look at everything, all the crazy shit that happens in the world.
Yes.
That could happen to anyone. What you're standing here, and it makes me feel grateful because that could have happened to me.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the military because I had no desire to join the military, but anything could happen.
Life could have happened.
Yeah, we're all susceptible, or whatever the correct word is, to addiction or to going to prison. And people don't realize that.
Yes.
They want to outcast individuals like you or me or ever because of that, but they don't realize that that could have easily happened.
100%.
Like, yeah, it's crazy.
I can't agree more. I mean, because honestly, at any point, any one of us, not to say, but for the most part, everybody has done something that could have led them to life in prison.
And we're not talking about serial killers. We're not talking about people that are born evil,
just
you
simple,
know?
simplistic mistakes.
I went to prison because I was ambitious and I had a goal and I went into it with the best intentions.
Yes.
You ended up in your position, both physically and mentally traumatic to you, because you had good intentions going into it. And that's what people don't see.
That's actually something that me and Matt was talking about right before we came in, was the reason why I'm on probation right now is for having good intentions, trying to be a good guy.
So before we get into that, I'm curious about the kerosene incident, and I'm sure our viewers the kerosene with the propane heater.
Yeah.
Why was that next to you? Or
I was just high. I just fell into it, and it fell over on me, and I'm unconscious, so I don't realize it. And
were you like in an abandoned house or something?
I was at a buddy of mine's trailer.
Okay. And he had the kerosene heater.
Yeah.
Okay. And is that normal to have a kerosene heater like that?
Yeah. I mean, he didn't have a furnace in the house. So that was his means of heating the little trailer we were in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does that work with like insurance and whatnot?
Well, seeing as how I'm a service-connected veteran, the VA covers everything. Right now, we're sitting at about $1.8 million that they've
they've covered $1.8 million.
Yeah, between the 7 surgeries, 2 months in ICU. This is my 5th leg right here.
So, I mean, that's like something I always look at. When you look at cause and effect, you're like, well, you know, this happened for this reason, and because of that, you got the medical coverage. But at the same time, if you never joined the military, that wouldn't have happened. But what if you had the accident without the military, you know? Like, what if you stumbled upon addiction, didn't do that time in the service, and then that happened to you and didn't have the insurance? So you could, like, I focus on going back in time to see how one thing could have changed another, but you really just never know.
Yeah.
And it could drive you crazy thinking about it, but everything brings you to where exactly you're supposed to be.
I believe that right there. There's no such thing as coincidences. The happenstance. The way I look at it is like everything has a purpose. Some things we may not understand it, but I don't think that things just happen to happen. I really believe that networking, marketing, on the personal side, hustling side, whatever it may be, everything is about working together and taking your. I can't think of the word I'm trying to say.
And I just genuinely think if you do right by people, you do good, and you work hard, and you're just nice and do what you can, the best you can, like things have a way of working themselves out. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that right there. And see, that centralizes back to what the Hill family is all about. Because I tell people I'm in recovery from drugs. My family, my community is not about drugs. My community is about everyone has a struggle. And no matter what your struggle is, no matter what your backstory was that led you to that moment, the forefront story, the trying to get better, there are so many crosses in our story. No matter what your backstory was, if it was child abuse or DV or SA, whatever, mental health stuff. I mean, list as long as you're on. But at the end of the day, we all have factors that do correlate to one another. And so we can still be there for each other. Even if you've never done a drug in your life, someone like me, I can still relate to you in trying to deal with outside circumstances, trying to deal with life.
Exactly. So you, timeline-wise, for our audience, from 2001, that happened, your incident with your legs, or around that time.
Yeah, it was like 02, 03.
So that addiction, because you didn't have the latest accident until a few years ago, that addiction was like a 15-year span, maybe more. Yeah, probably close to 20 years.
I was an IV addict for like 14 years.
What does that mean?
Injecting.
Okay.
Yes, and that to me became the drug. That's what I was addicted to, was the ritualistic process that is involved with breaking a substance down, putting it into a needle and injecting it.
So when you look at your span of addiction and you see the individuals that succumb to their addiction and pass away, how does that make you feel now that you've overcome it and you're where you're at today? How do you kind of explain that to yourself?
Well, I have what they call survivor's guilt. I beat myself up. I used to beat myself up a lot. Why did I live when I did so much more than this person did? And, and that mentality. And finally, I come to the realization that the best way I can deal with that, the best way I can honor them is by never letting their memory die. By sitting there and doing the best I can to scream from the mountaintops, and we can recover. To sit there because so long as your memory is remembered, somebody still speaks your name, you're not gone. You may not be here, but you're never gone so long as someone is lifting up the memory of what you were. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a big thing for me is communal lift up of ones that have lost. Not 3 weeks ago, my ex-fiance passed away. She relapsed. 2 days after she relapsed, I found a poem that she had on Facebook that literally all but called what was going to happen. You know, she went down the list of before she tried heroin, somebody told her that it was like a full orgasmic feeling of your body. She said, but then after I tried it, here's my truths. And she went down the list, you know, everything from your family will disown you to, you know, you'll do anything for it, all this whole list. But then at the end of it, that was what got me. She said, for God's sake, any of you and all of you out there, if you must try, remember this. Curiosity killed the cat, and it'll kill you too. Yeah, it was just that moment right there of, you know, like Christina Jones, that was a beautiful poem. I hated to see that she had to go. But I talked to her father and her stepmother, and I did everything I could to raise awareness about us. Her poem I ended up sharing ended up getting like 35,000 likes.
Wow.
But when I shared it around to distribute it. So, hey, her words will help someone. But I told her father that, you know, I'm doing that, but I cannot come in person to any funeral service, anything like that, because at the end of the day, even though I loved her, I have to protect my recovery. So I have to be selfish in my recovery in order to stay alive myself.
That's very powerful. Sometimes you have to distance yourself from old memories and people and places and things to not let it affect your future in that sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I believe that right there is like, I'm not a 12-stepper. I don't knock them. But that's one of their, like, their phrases, the people, places, and things. 100%. 100%. Because at the end of the day, even though I have not put a needle in myself in, 15, 16 months, whatever it is, if I went to the dope house and I'm sitting there and you sitting beside me and you sitting there doing da-da-da-da, am I going to be looking at you going, man, let me tell you about what God did for me? It's not the time for that. They're not trying to hear that. You know, so why would I risk my life, risk my sobriety, risk what I've got going on to try to sink back? Now, don't get me wrong, I have no hatred towards for instance, the man that sold me this stuff when I burnt my leg. I had numerous people ask, I said, come on now, let me explain something to you. Just because I ain't in that life no more, there's still a code. There ain't a damn one of you that will ever get out of me who that was. Why would I destroy someone else because of something I did? Come on. To me, that has no sense to it.
Yeah.
There's still a code out there. I have a lot of people that were ex-customers of mine, ex-dealers of mine, ex-using friends of mine that are still following me online, and I still communicate with some of them a little bit. At the end of the day, I have there's no hard feelings towards anybody for making a living. I don't knock them. Even though it's what I'm against, I'm not going to hurt them.
Now, you don't just have a story of addiction. You also have a story of you've had some run-ins with the law that you're sharing with Matt out there.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what happened there?
Well, there was two things. One we was talking about. I showed him on my website, heal-family.com. I have one of the it's a set of pictures there. It's me and my county sheriff and a bishop of a church standing together in a picture. 20 years ago, this man investigated me when I was a drug dealer. Last year, I ran into him at the courthouse, told him what had happened to me and everything, told him my hatred for fentanyl, because my end goal is I want to build an addiction recovery center in my town, Caswell County, North Carolina. He said, man, I've been waiting on somebody like you. Will you please come with me to this church? They've lost 3 of their members to fentanyl in the last 6 months. So we went, and this man, of course, there's videos of that's all on there too. My county sheriff in a small hick town, that's the strongest man. That's the most powerful man there is. You know what I mean? He got up and told them people, I've known this man for 20 years. I know where he was. I see where he is. Listen to what he's got to say. That's a powerful moment. Truly. But the run-in with the law that you was talking about was what I'm on probation for now. Being a good guy, trying to be the nice guy. All right, here's what happened. This guy beat his girlfriend up. She barricades herself in the bathroom in a little small trailer. She crawls out the little small bathroom window of the trailer. She goes to the store right there, calls the law. Of course, the law comes, they beat on the door, he won't come to it. They ask her, well, is there anywhere we can take you where you would feel safe? I'm friends with her boyfriend. That's the only reason why the girl even knows me. She said, well, I've got this one guy, I know he'd let me crash over at his place. The cops bring her to my house at midnight. I live in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I open up the door, I'm like, what the fuck? There's a cop sitting there. First off, you don't bring no cops to somebody's house in the hood. You don't do that, especially not at midnight. Yeah. And so I let her in and everything. Well, the next morning we get up and she said, can I use your phone? Steve broke mine while we were fighting. I don't think nothing of it. Give him my phone. Everything goes on. She ends up staying over about 3 or 4 days. Well, she ends up taking off with some other guy. I'm not thinking anything about the fact that this girl was using my phone. Well, what she done is she arranged for her now ex-boyfriend that beat her up, for her to come, her and another guy to come pick him up and take him to go score some drugs. Well, they pick him up and everything, and when they pull on, they pull on this side road, the guy driving just stops in the middle of the road. All of a sudden, this car comes flying in, turns like that and cuts him off. Steve, the guy's named Steve, he's like, what the world, what the world? The girl, Ashley, as soon as the guy runs up to the car, gets to the car door, she goes like it and pushes him simultaneously, so he tumbles out. The guy's got a sawed-off shotgun, starts beating him in the head with it. Leaves him on the side of the road to die. Well, he ends up making it to a house right there, calls law, da-da-da. So, of course, they pick his girlfriend up. They know it was her. The drug dealer, it was his drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? We all knew the guy. So they pick him up. When they pick her up, they ask her what happened and everything. She said, David Riggins arranged it all.
Holy shit.
Huh? They come to my house, pick me up. Take me down there. They locked me up. They hold me on no bond for conspiracy to commit attempted murder and armed robbery. I'm like, what the fuck? My sister actually is a clerk at the courthouse. I had her come and testify at a bond hearing for me. She told them that if they would release me on a bond, I'm in Virginia at this time, that I would leave Virginia and go to North Carolina out to my family's land and be separated from it. They allotted me a $10,000 bond on those conditions. So I wasn't even allowed to go back to my own place to pack my stuff up. My sister and them had to go do that. I lost my house, everything, you know. Comes time, so of course I know this is beat. I'm not guilty. Come time for the guy that actually, the boyfriend, me and him are buddies, right? I'm still hanging with him and everything in this meantime.
The guy that got beat up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I'm trying to make sure everything, I want everything good with us when court comes. Preliminary hearing time comes. They end up taking me, the girlfriend Ashley, and the guy Trey that beat him up, have all three of our preliminary hearings simultaneously. All three of us stood in front of the judge. The guy, Steve, that got beat up, spent 30 minutes testifying in front of the judge, begging him, why is David even here? This is my friend. Me and him have been friends for 25 years. You know, his whole testimony was that. The judge said, this is too complicated. I'm going to certify the charge and let circuit court figure it out. Since all three of us, he couldn't certify theirs, and so he just let them deal with it.
What a big mess.
Dude. So I'm like I said, I'm charged with conspiracy to commit attempted murder and armed robbery. They come to me and they said, you realize that she's done signed a paper to testify against you. I'm like, what the fuck? Now she's going to testify against me? They said, yeah. A couple days later, I get a phone call. I said, well, I got some great news. I said, what do you mean great news? She said, well, now Trey, the drug dealer, has signed to testify against you. I'm like, what the fuck? Why? How is that good news? She said, no, you don't understand. They both signed saying that they would testify against you. What you signed to say the same thing. All three nullifies each other and it just goes away. Holy shit, that makes sense. So, hell yeah. Well, then the guy Trey, day before court, backs out of his offer. I get a phone call, you need to be in court tomorrow to testify. I'm like, testify? That was the whole point. That's against the code, you know? So I had to go to the courthouse, and since, as I said, I wasn't there, anything else. So the only thing I was able to tell the lady, because they never even called me in the courtroom, because the only thing I was able to tell her was that I know that guy, but I wasn't there. I don't know anything about this stuff being set up, so I don't know what good I am to y'all. So she agreed, and the state didn't call me. So technically, that was me still doing my deal. Since I was there, they just chose not to use me. But the deal that they gave me was, we will drop the charge to conspiracy to commit malicious wounding, put you on probation with no jail time.
And you took it?
Oh, hell yeah.
You didn't want to go to trial because you knew you were innocent?
Well, see, you got to remember, I've got a record previous. Yeah. I had some drug charges, some dealing charges back before. Yeah, I wasn't just a user. Exactly. And so because they're talking 25 to life.
Yeah, but that's that
scares you. Exactly. Yeah. And that's all it is.
That they can literally just go there and scare you, and that's just bad police work, man.
Well, and another thing you got to realize, see, I got out of, when I got put on 2 years of probation, this was on December 16th, 2022. Remember, I lost my leg on December 20th, 2022.
So it was right around the same time.
It was 4 days after I got out of jail and got put on probation for the 2 years of probation I'm on right now.
Oh, that you had lost. Oh,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why my tolerance wasn't high.
I wonder if it would have been a different impact if it was reversed, if the leg happened first.
Most likely. Because I sincerely believe that the reason why I got set down for so long, because I'm so damn hard-headed, God was like, I got to sit him down for a little extra time, you know, and not a single soul from the street came and visited me.
Oh,
you know?
But then on the other end, if you got the prison time, you would have avoided the leg.
Yeah.
What would you have taken if it was presented to you right now?
This.
This?
Take my leg.
Why?
Because it gave me a new purpose in life. I was the most selfish individual when I used. It was all about me. And now, when I say that the community I run is about helping others, that is what I want to continue my life as from this point forward, is it's about everybody else. Because little old me doesn't matter. But if I can sit there and I can even possibly open Jimmy's eyes and Susie's eyes and keep them from going down that road that I went through, nah. Let me experience this pain because I can use it to keep others from having to do it.
I think people sometimes from the outside, when they see someone that's in your position or struggling or, you know, disabled, loses a leg, loses an arm, anything that's bad happened to them, they'll say, oh, I wish, you know, that didn't happen to me. Like, I couldn't imagine. So what do you tell those people when they're like that? How do you overcome it? Because people have struggles. They're not as huge as yours, or they could be bigger than yours. What's your method for dealing with the struggle so that the mentality doesn't overtake you?
We have a mutual friend, Jimmy McGill.
I love Jimmy.
Oh man,
I was just with him a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah.
It's a saying of his. It's my mantra. It's what I say to myself every single morning. I've told Jimmy this numerous times. So long as you still have breath in your lungs, you can become a productive member of society.
You sounded exactly like Jimmy just now, even his voice too.
I do. I literally have that wrote on my mirror. As every single morning. That's what when I get up, I say, it's not too late. You still got breath in your lungs, boy, you can do it. Let's get it. And that's, as I said, that's my daily mantra. And that's what I tell people is, look, I'm not disabled. Trust me when I tell you, I am in the best physical shape of my entire life. 4 days after I had this amputation done, I got a video of me doing pull-ups and leg lifts with a cinder block tied to the damn stump.
You'll fuck someone up, man. You're badass.
I mean, but you know what? It's all about perception.
It really is.
It's all about perception.
Life's about perception.
100%.
You know, like someone's downfall could be someone else's, you know, windfall. And that's when you look at cases like us where you're literally turning the worst thing that could ever happen to you into the best thing. People don't realize that you literally have, that's what I tell everyone. Like you, especially in today's world, this might not have been applicable 20 years ago, but with the power of technology, you can literally go on a platform and share something that was horrific to you and turn it into some type of entertainment, and it could be the best thing that could ever happen to you.
That's our story right there.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. And see, that's that correlation of, even though the backstories are so different, the forefront one has cross points.
Yeah.
That's
like I read comments, and I saw one last night. They were like, "Oh, you're making fun of people that are in prison." And it's like,
no, I'm giving them a voice.
Yeah. And it's also like you're turning this into entertainment. And, you know, it is entertainment, but it's also how you raise awareness. You need the entertainment to raise awareness.
That wow point.
Because I guarantee you, if you take two videos, one is someone talking about how horrific the prisons are and a crazy story that happened in prison, and then you could pair it next to another video where it's like, we need reform, we need change in the prison system, and this is why. The one with the entertainment is going to perform way better than the one that's about the reform and reentry, but when you put the two together, they both have the same meaning.
Exactly.
And the same cause.
Yes.
People are just blindsided because this way is the old way of thinking. And this way is the new, modern, hip way of thinking.
Yeah.
This is how you get people engaged. This is how you get people to listen.
That.
I was at a reentry fair last week in Danbury, and it was very low attendance. And that's just the old way of thinking. People that are coming out of prison, they don't want to go to a job fair where, you know, someone may or may not help them, and they're held to this standard of these are the only jobs you can get. The sky's the limit. You could do so much more. You don't need to be picked secluded to these 5 people that showed up to this job fair or these 5 employers, you know?
Yeah.
There's this canvas of people. And that's what I want to push to people, you know?
I agree completely. It's all about changing mindset right there. Yeah, I agree with you 100% that, you know, if we stay stuck in the woe is me, that's one thing I tell people, you know, that when this happened, I had 2 choices. Go into the woe is me, oh, sad, or buckle down, beast mode, and fight through. I choose the latter. You know, and I choose to show other people that, hey, if you fall, don't worry. The only way I'm ever going to look down at you is if I'm helping pull you back up. You feel me? That's my mindset. I will pull you back up. I will stop my progress just to help make sure that you don't fall anymore. I'll help you walk, man.
So that mentality, do you think people are born with it, or do you think that is you have to grow into that through trials and tribulations? And do you think if you're not born with it, or if it's not in you, you can never have that?
I believe it's a little bit, there's some gray areas there. I sincerely believe, like, as the military training and stuff like that, it does impute, but you already got to have that monster in you, I believe. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has the capability to be more than what they are. It's just a matter of whether or not they buckle to it. I think that, yes, people are born with the tendency, like addictive tendencies, things like that in their character. But I also believe that trials and tribulations of life can alter a person's way of thinking and way of being. So I think it's some gray area between the two.
Yeah, like me, like I was just born with this mentality, like I will never give up. Like I'll always, that's just who I am. And even it put even more of a fire on it when I did face my trials and tribulations too. But I had that from the get-go. Yeah. And I guess that ties into the entrepreneurial sense, because I know that part you get kind of born with too, and it's kind of hard to grow into that. And there's nothing wrong with people who aren't entrepreneurial. My mother is someone who's not entrepreneurial in the least bit, and my father is someone who is everything entrepreneurial. Yeah. So I get a little bit of both. You know, I always say I get my emotions from my mom, and I get the work ethic from my dad. So it's fascinating how it's shaped and how it comes. And I love learning that about people.
Yeah.
Because everyone always sees in the world how the celebrities are made or what they came into, but we don't spend the time on just your average everyday people.
Yeah. Did you hear about the skydiving event that I hosted on March 2nd?
No, tell me about it.
Oh, wow.
Did you jump out of the plane?
Oh, yeah. That's what me and Matt was. That's the videos me and him was watching. Right before I came here, that's the videos me and him were watching. I have them all on my website and all that, of course.
How dangerous is it?
No more dangerous than the drive here, in my opinion.
So, accident-wise, what are the odds of something
statistically
happening?
very low.
Okay.
Very low. It's a tandem jump. Of course, I was affixed to a professional jumper, and they didn't let me wear my legs, so because the worry of it coming off midair, and you could imagine the trauma that could cause.
It hurts.
So I understood. This thing weighs like 30 pounds.
That thing weighs 30 pounds?
Yeah, it goes all the way to here.
Wow.
It's carbon fiber and titanium. I mean, it's actually pretty heavy.
Wow.
Yeah. But so remember, this was my full circle in life, okay?
Yeah.
I got hurt training to learn how to jump out of a plane. Mid-February, a couple months ago, it hit me. I was like, it's time to jump out of that plane. I'm ready. So I put a post on Facebook. I said, I may have lost my leg, but didn't lose my balls. Who wants to jump out of a plane with me? Of course, they were flying in at that point,
Yeah.
Well, then Melissa Williams, we call her Mima, she sent me a private message. She said, when you go and do that jump, would you do me a favor? If I send you a picture of my daughter, her daughter was lost to fentanyl poisoning. If I send you a picture of my daughter, would you have it in your pocket when you jump? I said, holy shit, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what this is about. So I put the word out there. If any of you have lost any of your family members, any of your loved ones to overdose, send me their picture, and I'll take them on the last Sober Hurrah. We had over 40 submissions of individuals that had been lost to overdose that we took up in the plane and we did a jump with.
That's amazing.
I set this whole thing up in 2 weeks. I came up with the idea, and the full fruition to getting in that plane was a 2-week time period. I had beyond amazement for the microscopic platform that I have for some of the allotments that I was given. There's a guy named Mike Meadows and his wife, Sober Jess. They drove 6 hours to come speak. There's a lady named Rachel Palante. She drove 8 hours to come speak. There's a guy named Joe Stan. He was lucky when he lives in Raleigh, so he was already home. And I had to go 2 hours to get there. And so, of course, we have all the streams of everybody giving their testimony and this and that, But for those, each of them have 100 to 250,000 followers apiece. For me sitting there across all platforms, I got like 20,000. You know what I'm saying? For somebody that small to sit there and have people like that came and they believed in what I was trying to do, all set up in a 2-week period. I literally, that's what me and Matt was looking at the video. When I landed, the videographer guy, because I had the full videography package done, so that his camera angles everywhere. Why not? I was thinking content. And he asked me, he said, "What did you like about it, or how did you enjoy the experience?" I said, "I'll be honest with you. About halfway down, I started trying to think how we was gonna make next year's better."
That's awesome. That's how I think.
Yeah, that's
when I'm
my
in
goal.
the moment, I'm always thinking about what's next.
That's what the merch stuff is. Honestly, that's where this all transpired from. Because, as I said, I'm a service-connected veteran. I spent $2,600 out of my own pocket to finance that event. I got a total of $140 donated to me. You know what I'm saying? So I walked away, 24 and some change out of my pocket.
Yeah. And
I'm on disability, man. So somebody told me, they were like, I had a few friends. Patrick Lycon, he made the designs that I have on the shirts, and then my actually marketing teacher from high school, Miss Jo Page says, she drew up the one that has the rainbow flames for me. And they said, look, let the Hill community finance the Hill community. Shit, that makes sense. So that's how I got my website. I had, heal-family.com. And on there, we've got a store that's got all our shirts are $20. And it's $5 for shipping. And then if somebody buys if you spend $60, then it's free shipping. It's $35 for a hoodie. And at the end of the day, every single penny that ever comes in is going to finance doing future things like Hill 24 was.
That's awesome.
Hill 25 is going to be a beast. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
man.
let me know when it is, man. I'll see if I could come too. I don't know if
Absolutely.
I'll jump out of the plane, but I could be there on the ground for when you land.
Hey, I mean,
And we'll have your description in the bio of all your links and whatnot, where people could buy merchandise and support your cause.
Absolutely. I mean, because at the end of the day, man, like I tell people, and I mean, this ain't bragging whatsoever, but I don't need this for the monetary portions. I literally, we're registering Hill Family as a LLC in the state of North Carolina. That's one of the things we're in the process of, turning this into an actual business. That way we keep Uncle Sam happy with the taxes. I don't want the tax fraud stuff to come hit me.
Hey,
next.
why are you pointing at me? I didn't go to prison for tax fraud.
I may have heard the story, but yeah, I don't. We got to keep Uncle Sam happy, and I'm sure nowadays you make sure you do.
I'm very on top of things. I do all my record keeping and stuff myself.
Yeah.
You kind of learn through years of trauma of not doing it correctly. Because when I was running those businesses, I didn't fucking keep notes or I didn't do anything. I did it when it was too late. So now I'm very organized, very meticulous. I keep detailed notes. And in this business, it's not a cash business. Everything's on the books. Like you get paid from advertisers, YouTubers. They're not handing you cash.
Yeah.
It's all traceable. It's all income. It's all legitimate.
Yeah.
So it can't go wrong. But one thing I wanted to chime in on is you had said, your small platform followers. And, I just wanted to say to everyone out there, we're in the day and age where followers do not matter.
Exactly.
Like you could literally post a video. Like I don't want people to get discouraged by sharing their story because they have no followers. When I started, I had one video. I did 4 videos, and on that 5th video, it went viral about me talking about prison. I had less than 1,000 followers on that TikTok. That's what social media does. And I was reading an article. Instagram is now changing their algorithm to prioritize pushing your content, videos and stuff, out to more people. So anyone that's listening that wants to share their story, doesn't know where to start, just start telling videos, start sharing stories.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you have 1 follower or 100,000 followers.
And diversification is another thing that's a huge advantage to be able to get yourself cross platforms. I mean, you need a YouTube, you need an Instagram, you need a TikTok, you need a Facebook.
Put that same video on every platform.
Exactly.
That's where I learned.
StreamYard. I don't know if you've ever used StreamYard.
When other people have me on their show, I personally don't like doing like remote interviews. That's why everyone comes in the studio.
Yeah. Well, I use it not just for having a secondary person on there, but even just for a video to multi-platform stream.
Oh, okay.
Because you can record and then post later is how it says. And you can, if you have the paid platform, I think I can do 5 simultaneous. So I can put one video up and then it puts it on 5 different platforms. For
live.
Me. Well, yeah, you can do live or you can do pre-recorded.
That's actually pretty cool.
I think I pay like $15 a month for
So if
service.
you go live on StreamYard, hypothetically, it'll go to YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
Not TikTok.
Okay.
TikTok doesn't work with them.
Okay.
But all the rest.
It'll go to Facebook.
Yes. Yeah.
So I could do a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live.
Yes, that's the way I do mine.
Interesting.
Like I have a Facebook group it's just David Riggins podcast appearances, and it's like everybody that I've been on with, I put it right there.
So do I make the cut now?
You already know you'll be on the list.
Awesome. Well, David,
after this weekend, it's going to be a few on there.
Yeah. Well, David, thank you so much, man, for coming. This was an incredible conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to have met you. And if you need anything, reach out. And like I said, we'll have your description to links and whatnot in the bio for people. to check you out and follow you too on social media.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. Like you said, follower numbers don't matter, but at the end of the day, they also do matter because that's how you reach and get that message to the ear that needs to hear it.
Exactly.
That's what grinding's about.
Exactly. Well, keep grinding and enjoy your weekend in New York and say hi to Jared.
I will. That's actually I've been feeling all this vibrating. I literally, he said, let me know when you're through over at Ian's. I texted back. I said, actually, we're setting up right now. And
cool. Well, give him a call. Say hello.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.